That's right. Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
I'm sorry, Dragon. God damn it. I need to look up the intro is so fucking simple and I need to look it up. It's our first time that we're using the new intro.
You used the revised one that I sent you.
I am using the revised one, yes. That's why I wanted to make sure to look it up. Okay. Let's do that again. I'm sorry, folks. Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
It's time, yet again, to explore the vast catalog and find out what's a must or a bust on Disney Plus. Tonight, we're talking Ahsoka Parts 1 and 2. All right. Okay, Dragon. So surprisingly, no one's in the chat yet. I hope that we get some engagement with this because this is, in light of the Disney Star Wars kind of having some less than stellar results over the years, I feel like this has been one of the more highly anticipated projects. So I'm really hoping that the hype is here for it because I got to tell you, Dragon, I don't know what your method of watching Rebels was, but my method was essentially one season per month since May. To kind of build up to it. And doing that, I feel like I am pretty fully engrossed in this Filoni Star Wars verse now. And I also feel like I really need to catch up with Clone Wars at this point. So Ahsoka Parts 1 and 2, I definitely like where we're going with it. I think that these opening with these two episodes kind of felt like, kind of just like a mini TV movie of sorts to kind of set the status quo with the show. I'm not in love with everything that we did. I feel like, Ray Winstone, of course, rest in peace. I like his performance. I'm just not exactly sure. You cannot do. Okay, got it. I'm sorry. I like his performance. I'm just not exactly sure if I like the direction that the villains in general are heading in.
I think you mean Ray Stevenson, right?
Did I say Ray Winstone?
Yeah, you said Ray Winstone. He's the creepy Weinstein-esque guy from Black Widow. No, it's
okay. I'm sorry, Dragon. I'm all over the place. Yes, I like his performance. I just kind of I'm a little skeptical. I feel like the villain side of things is kind of like where I'm a little bit more skeptical. I'm loving all the Rebels stuff. I'm loving all the Rebels callbacks. And I'm very glad that I took the time to actually invest in Rebels, especially given the fact that literally pretty much in the first 10 minutes of the show, we basically get a full rundown on exactly how Rebels ends. Spoiler alert. All right, what are your thoughts on it, just overall?
Overall, it feels like we're giving Filoni the keys of the kingdom finally in a big way. I'm not saying Mando wasn't already a big taste of that, but that was very much at its core, Mando is kind of Favreau's baby, but it's Favreau and Filoni at the same time. It's kind of like Filoni getting the shot by proxy of we have Jon Favreau on this, but really Dave Filoni's where all the really good stuff's coming from. But again, Favreau is he's the guy who has a light bulb hey, let's do a Star Wars show. So it's I can do that. Let's do it. But this feels full on, Filoni's opus, at least the precipice of being, Filoni's opus in terms of this is all the stories that he's been telling in animation kind of brought to the forefront, and we've been kind of dropping seeds of it here and there in the other shows, and it's we're finally doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
Overall,
I'm pretty optimistic about it.
It's a good continuation of Rebels so far. It very much feels like the Rebels reunion show. I don't know how this is going to play for a general audience. I will say that's my reservation about it. But again, as a continuation of Rebels, anyone who like Rebels, I think they're going to like this.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's dive into it. Episode 1, Master and Apprentice. Like I said, Dragon, I really do think, unfortunately, it's not the most accessible show when it comes to just being, I would not recommend the show to people who have not seen Rebels, just straight up, honestly. And that is a tough barrier of entry. Rebels is Rebels is a lot. Rebels is good. I like Rebels overall, but it's a lot of episodes.
Yep. To be fair, more digestible in terms of like if you do a binge, it would be a lot more bingeable than say Clone Wars. Clone Wars is. I'm not saying Clone Wars is bad or anything, but Clone Wars is 7 seasons.
7 seasons, and also it's not nearly as serialized as Rebels is.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, I mean, it really helps. Though it's been a while since we've really done this, but I think doing it for the show is a really good call. Kind of give it a little oomph. We have a crawl, not just a crawl. We have a red crawl.
Yes, I do love the Red Crawl Dragon, and I feel like Filoni in general for these first couple episodes, one of the good things that he is doing stylistically that I feel like will hopefully draw some of the old guard back who might not have been through the Rebels journey is making this thing feel very 70s, including the scroll.
Yeah.
But I really do like that scroll at the I guess we're not going to get it at the beginning of every episode though, right? Because it wasn't in episode 2.
Well, that's the thing. It's just the start. You only get the crawl once, Tiki, just to kind of set up like what you need to know for Rebels, essentially. Which I mean, at the very least, where we left things off with Rebels.
Uh-huh.
So that's a one-time thing, but still, like opening the story collectively with this, because this might be one of those things where this is probably going to feel like the like an 8-hour movie, so to speak. This is going to be kind of like them telling like a big. I don't know how show versus movie it's going to be at the end of the day, which sometimes is the thing with the Disney Plus shows where they're just kind of going for a serialized movie versus a TV show.
But honestly, given the event quality of this particular show,
Yeah,
I really don't mind the 8-hour movie approach. I really don't.
I mean, plus the word on the street is like this is this is really like the big grand lead in for like the big crossover movie that they will be doing on Disney Plus. Now I'm just taking this on its own merits. I mean, I'm just saying like broad spectrum in terms of how we've been doing these. It would be kind of interesting. I mean, doing all these shows and we build to a movie.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, so yes, we get the crawl. It's long story short, the crawl in red. It says the bad guys want to find Thrawn and start a new war, which possibly may. Again, the tension being, we don't know if it's going to be successful or not because we do get the First Order. Now we don't know if Thrawn is the guy who engineered the First Order or not.
I feel like we are very much building towards the First Order.
So that's but still, I like that we kind of have the ambiguity. We know something bad's going to happen ultimately, but the question is Thrawn the guy behind that, or is it like is it because that's it? We've been setting up like the seeds of the New Republic, having faults in Mando season 3, and like it's okay, these are things that are probably going to lead to like things crumbling and like a First Order rising.
I mean, I will say one thing: the New Republic in this show is just like they are just straight up a joke, like even more so than they were in Mando season 3. Mando season 3, they were definitely corrupt, but like here, they are almost like comically incompetent.
Yeah. Well, not corrupt, Tiki, but just incompetent.
Okay.
I'm saying that they're not like secretly evil. Tiki, that's my point. We have I don't know. There's the we had like the one character. She was more so like she had like an agenda, so she doesn't really reflect the rest of the New Republic. So I don't know if corrupt is the right word.
I'm sorry, Dragon. When I think of Rebels season, when I think of Mando season 3, corrupt is the word I would use for that storyline with the New Republic. Like, yeah, through the lens of that one character.
Okay. So let's see. Yeah, so we set up this character Amanda, who we really pay off majorly here in the big Ahsoka introduction episode. Morgan Elsbeth, Lady Elsbeth. She tipped off Ahsoka to the plan in that episode. That basically she name dropped Thrawn. Like, okay, basically the Imperial remnants are doing stuff, and they're trying to find Thrawn, and that's what kind of set her on the warpath there. For every time we checked in with her in Mando, and this is the big payoff to all that.
Yeah. I'm not really. I feel like this character in particular is one of the characters that like I need more of a knowledge on Clone Wars to really understand. Because I feel like the whole witch culture is more explored in Clone Wars, right?
Yeah, that is true. Yes, and
Yeah, that's kind of like where I feel like I'm kind of like and again I do want to start Clone Wars. I very much do. I don't think I'll have the time to finish it before Ahsoka wraps up, but because there's definitely a couple other Clone Wars elements in here as well.
look, to boil it down, all you need to know about the witches of Dathomir are, they were very key in bringing back Darth Maul.
Okay.
That's all you really need to know. The point, every time I mention Dathomir, I believe, is where Darth Maul, that's his home planet. So essentially, like, these are like, at the very least, it's where he kind of was, very much, he came back to life in a sense. So, regardless, the point being, we established, I don't think, that's the whole witch thing is from Clone Wars, yes, but like this character herself is purely from, Mando. Anyways, the point being, we open with a prison break, with this great introduction to the Balin's skull.
My one nitpick with this dragon is that like it's a cool scene for sure. I just kind of feel like they're sort of riding on the coattails of the Vader scene from Rogue One a little bit, just in the way that it's shot.
I mean, maybe isn't that kind of like a compliment to how good the like Star Wars looks when we're kind of.
I mean, I kind of feel like it literally kind of feels like a shot for shot almost of the Vader hallway scene, except it's cool because it's not Vader.
Well, no, the Luke scene was a shot for shot remake of the Vader scene. Tiki, this is not that.
Was the Luke scene a shot by shot of the Vader scene?
I mean, more or less, yes.
Because didn't we see Vader's like actual face? Like I know, not obviously not face, but we saw like
fine. Tiki. Fine, let's dissect all the semantics. No, it's not exactly shot for shot, but it is essentially okay. If we turn the camera around on Vader in that scene, it's shot for shot.
I don't know. Again, I'm not really. The performance is good. I'm not really like. I need to see more of him. I need to see more of like what he's doing.
You weren't won over by what Stevenson did here on this guy.
I like I said, I like the performance. I just the motivation. Just as of now, it's just kind of like. Okay, they're out to find Thrawn. What I do like about him is I do like the balance of you can kind of tell he's got like one toe in the Jedi waters and like a full foot in the Sith waters, if that makes sense.
Well, that's the interesting thing about this character. And again, we haven't really fully fleshed it out yet, but it really seems to me, based on how his performance and everything, is that I was thinking about his introduction, the whole thing of like the New Republic guy calling out like, okay, you guys aren't Jedi, and this whole thing, well, you are right at one thing, we are no Jedi, when he says that. You get the sense there's like shades of gray on Balin, and Balin, I feel, is not a Sith, but he is an ex-Jedi, because the idea this guy was a Jedi who became a mercenary. He's not necessarily a Sith, but he does have a Padawan who's very Sith-like, so I can't really equate if just going to the dark side instantly makes him like really a Sith, because you got to remember we're in kind of this we're in kind of like the post like the post Order 66 world, and especially post just the original trilogy, in that 5-year kind of like after all that post Endor. It does feel like the rules are a little bit like in flux now. We don't necessarily have to look at things as black and white, as we're going forward. There's a chance he might not even really technically be a Sith. He's just. I
legitimately don't think he is a Sith. I think, like I said, I think what the situation really is he's very much kind of like his own thing. We'll see if he's tied to any sort of like one culture or anything. But my whole thing is like I feel like he's kind of like much more leaning towards Sith, but like I said, he's dipping a toe in the Jedi pool. Like he's still got some reverence for the Jedi.
Oh, for sure. All right, so let's see. We have some really good action this episode, though. We have Ahsoka versus the Hunter Killer droids.
I would say, generally speaking, this is like, I mean, Mando definitely did some good stuff, especially in its first couple seasons. Not to say all the action Mando season 3 was bad, but I definitely think budget wise it was kind of a step down in a lot of ways. But this Dragon, I mean, don't get me wrong, Andor, I feel like I feel like it was like the world building and the set design and everything. but we didn't get action scenes like this in Andor. Like, this is like far and away the most cinematic action that we've gotten out of anything Star Wars Disney Plus.
True. I mean, I don't know. The other thing, we have like the Clone Wars. I know you haven't gotten to it, but like the last season of Clone Wars has like one of the best lightsaber fights.
Oh, I don't doubt that, and I'm not really counting animation. Honestly, I'm counting more the live action stuff.
Well, sure. In that case,
like, I don't doubt that there's stuff in Clone Wars that is extremely cinematic.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, in that sense, in terms of live action, again, Mando so far has really been doing that, but we don't really have necessarily a lot of like lightsaber shenanigans in.
Exactly.
We had some dark saber shenanigans, but not really like a full on. Like the closest we go was like Moff Gideon versus Mando at the end of season 2. And that's not exactly verbatim. Anyway, let's see. So yeah, we had this point being, Rosario Dawson impresses as the older, wizened Ahsoka, and we get we kind of teased her up, and she was like, it was very refreshing. Like, oh man, she fits that role like a glove, kind of in the Rebels era Ahsoka, which we're doing here. So past Rebels era Ahsoka, technically this is after the war. The choreography, the action's great there. Also, we meet a Clone Wars character, and I'm pretty sure this guy did not pop up in Rebels. So
I don't think he did. No.
Yeah. So Hu Yang.
Tiki, yeah, of course, voiced by the wonderful, the incomparable
David Tennant.
Oh yeah, Dragon. I love this droid. Really do. I'm very. This is another big reason why I do want to get into the Clone Wars.
See, in Clone Wars, I don't remember how often they used him, but his role in Clone Wars, which we used to great effect here in these 2 episodes, he was the lightsaber smith. Like he was the guy who led the Padawans through lightsaber construction.
I wonder if he's involved in the lightsaber training thing at all. He
should be, but I'm pretty sure he's not from that thing.
Yeah,
at one time. But that's the thing, he really should be, because that was his. But then here's the thing: the setting is what kills that, because if because
right, because it's obviously But then again, I mean, he is still around.
He is. That's true.
This is generally the. I feel like the timeline is starting to loosen up a little bit with Galaxy's Edge. We can just call it, if we can just say post-original trilogy, maybe. But yeah, no, I love the idea of him being the lightsaber, kind of blacksmith. I also really love the idea of him essentially being like the universal teacher for all these different generations of Padawan. And, we always like to clown around with David. We were just doing a little David Tennant in-joke to ourselves off air last night. But here, I really, you can really feel just the decades of experience that this droid has. And, seeing all the pupils and kind of in him passing down what he knows about Padawan.
He's passing down the literal torch.
Right. I love that for his character, through 2 episodes.
Absolutely. I'm so looking forward to seeing more of this character. Anyway, so
there's another droid that steals the show even more that we'll get to in episode 2.
Sure. So, let's see. So we have a little to kind of tee up a little. We have a little bit of a Rebels reunion going on. As you'd expect. It's really cool seeing him in live action.
It really is. I will say, Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Hera. I've heard some people say that they don't really that the vibe feels different with her. I don't know. I feel like, just given the time jump that we've had, I feel like she feels like Hera, a lot of the knowing smiles and glances. You know what I mean? A lot of the more subtle things about her performance, and I'm really loving it. I think she's right on point with Rosario Dawson as far as bringing a character like this to life in live action.
Sure. Obviously, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, she's a great actress, so of course, already right off the bat, it's in good hands. But I mean, also the thing to factor in is we haven't seen him yet, but Hera is a mom. Hera does have a kid, and we haven't said what happened to that kid yet. We don't know.
We know what happened to the dad.
Yep, that we do.
Oh man, Dragon, one thing I genuinely do not want to see in this show, just because I don't think I'm going to have the stomach for it. I don't want to see a live action recreation of that moment.
I mean, logically, you think they'd have to get Freddie Prinze Jr. right for that, don't
You
you?
would think so, right? You would think they'd have to get him. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying because the rule of thumb so far seems to be when they can help it, they try to get the the voice actor to play the live action character.
Which is
When
why
they,
they need to get Jim Cummings for Hondo, goddammit.
yep. Hey, I mean, the Tiki. Seriously though, if he's ever going to show up in anything,
I know, it's gotta be this, right?
it has to be this. Because if he doesn't, if he doesn't show up in this, he's never showing up. Okay, I'm convinced.
What if Disney just has a thing where it's like, nah, we'll keep him to the ride. Fuck it.
It's like, no, that's impossible.
Oh god. Okay, so Dragon, you're ready for a deep cut Rebels character that I was stoked to see show up.
Yeah.
Give it up for Clancy Brown, dude.
Yeah, I forgot if he was announced or not for the show, but just seeing him pop up, especially after getting caught up on Rebels, it was like so tickled pink. Like, yeah, I remember Clancy Brown. He's great.
He was. I love how his character was. Like slowly introduced. Like he was basically like introduced as kind of like a surrogate father figure for Ezra. I think in season 2, season 3, he was very much a part of the action. Then by season 4, he was like one of the real kind of like major cogs in the machine that brought down that fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he was Trojan horse is the wrong word, but he was a very big kind of piece on the board.
Right. So I love how he's got this kind of like almost King Triton style dynamic with Sabine. I only say King Triton just because it's very much kind of reminded me of like, where's Ariel? She's supposed to be at the rehearsal. It's like I love it's like oh god, I don't know. This character was again like ever since he first popped up on Rebels, I've kind of been delighted by his presence, and I was delighted that he kind of gradually grew into a more and more central figure. I'm sure he won't get a ton of screen time in this show, but just to see him pop up at all was delightful.
The thing with Clancy Brown is no one ever gives the man enough credit for his live action stuff as well as his animated stuff. Because animated, the man's such a powerhouse of talent. And every time we glean him in live action, he's like, "Oh man, look how good he was! We gotta give this Clancy
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I'm just blown by the great subtlety in the performance here. Where again, he's not a bad guy clearly, but he is like he's kind of like the guy running. He's running things like oh man, Sabine's making me look bad. He's putting on a smile for the people, and he's playing it off real nice. He's like, where is she? Oh, he's telling like the under like, hey, stall, would you?
But again, it's like if you don't know this character, like you could probably get the wrong impression of him. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, sure. I don't know. I think even if you see this guy, I thought the layers were conveyed here. Where this guy's not a bad guy. It's kind of a little Howard Hamlin-esque to some degree.
A little bit. Yeah.
This guy, there's layers of this guy. Like, okay, he's annoyed that she's not showing up and he's sending people after, but it doesn't mean he's like a tyrant or anything. He's like, come on, man.
Well, like I said, I would relate it to like a King Triton type.
Well, sure, and also the beard helps.
Yes, it does.
Oh yeah, just really cool scene. Also, we have the really cool mural.
He's a human. You're a mermaid.
So we have the cool mural that Sabine did.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that we got the mural in here on the thumbnail somewhere.
There's a really clever way. Apparently, at one of the conventions or something, I don't know if it was D23 or one of the conventions, they had like the mural you could take pictures around.
Nice.
Yeah, yes, of course, you see them all in the art style. It's a nice little reunion there. I wonder if, because obviously we kind of had him cameo in Mando, but I wonder if we're going to see, if we're going to see Zeb.
We got to bring back Zeb. I would hope that we'd bring back Zeb.
Just to get the whole, because literally it's kind of neat that with the exception of the dead member of the group, we've seen all these characters in live action. It's not all at the same place at the same time.
Right.
Yeah. Even got the Loth Cat in there.
I mean, I would hope that at the very least Zeb would have like an episode where he pops up. But I'm hoping that he just becomes part of the main crew because he should be part of the main crew.
I mean, he's going off to do different things. There's a reason why he might not be there, but
True. You know who I really want to see though?
Hondo.
Kallus.
Yeah, here's the. I was expecting to see Kallus, but I did not.
We will see if Kallus pops up. I actually think Kallus. He was one of the big bright spots in season 3 for me, and I feel like he got a little underserved in season 4 of Rebels. So I don't know. I'd love him. Dragon, you know me with those archetypes. Like I love those heel turns.
Well, here's another thing too. I mean, he could show up, Captain Rex.
I would also like to see Captain Rex in live action. That would be fun.
Fun thing, Captain Rex too, is that I don't know if we ever talked about this, but Captain Rex, because he was so beloved in Clone Wars, they kind of did a little retroactive thing for the original trilogy with him, where there is this bearded general character. I'm pretty sure in Rebels, this is where they decided to make the turn. Where if you Rex has a beard for a very specific reason in Rebels, so they could retroactively put him in on the Battle of Endor.
Oh, nice.
That's the thing. If you look, there's like this guy leading the charge who has this kind of this white beard and looks essentially vaguely like Rex. When they did Rebels, like, hey, we can make him look like that guy, so we can have this captain in the battle be Captain Rex. Anyway, so let's see. So Sabine, she has this cool little speeder bike scene.
Very Akira.
Very Akira. We're seeing Lothal in live action, the big tower and everything.
I gotta tell you, it's like I'm not the biggest fan of Lothal as a location. Like I like the mythology of the Lothwolves and stuff like that, but like as an actual location, I wasn't crazy about it as a central setting for Rebels. But because we do spend so much time in it, one of my issues with Rebels is that it just kind of like got repetitive to see the same 3 or 4 landscapes over and over again. But Dragon, those 3 or 4 landscapes, they get recreated in live action really well. And I think the fact that we do kind of spend a lot of time on this planet in Rebels kind of makes that even cooler. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. So let's see. So we let's talk about the animatronic Locab.
Yeah, man, I love it. Really good practical effects there.
Yeah, it looked great.
Come
on, Disney. Why can't we spend money on this stuff?
We got to see a live action Lothwolf, right?
I mean, that one might be look. I mean, it's possible, but have that thing move the way it moves, it might have to be CG.
Even if it's CG, I just want to see how they would do it.
That's the thing. I wonder. Like, I think Ezra is kind of the key factor. I don't think you can have him without Ezra there, and he's a little preoccupied at the moment. So,
but Ezra is going to be in the picture at some point, though.
At some point, yes, true. Yes, he will be at some point. It's a question of how the heck we're going to get him out of there, and of course, where the heck Pergil is.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so it's essentially, if I read it right, they're basically trapped in hyperspace. It's essentially where because the idea. Now, here's the thing I completely forgot about, because again, I had not finished Rebels, and I had no idea about this. So in Mando, I guess it was season. I forget if it was 2 or 3. But I think it was season. It's one of the seasons we had this bit where Baby Yoda is probably season 3 because he's in the new ship. When Grogu is in the N1, he's looking at and he sees like these little creatures moving through hyperspace. That's like the giant kind of space whale creatures that were that kind of ensnared Ezra and Thrawn at the end.
Right.
So that was them building up. Like, okay, this is kind of like there's something in hyperspace. Yeah.
It's just I don't know. I feel like because of how much hype that we've been giving the return of Thrawn and everything, I feel like we're gonna hit the point where Ezra makes a return sooner rather than later. I don't think I would hope that they wouldn't pull like a Luke at the very end of The Force Awakens on us. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I would hope that we at least get some sort of like on-screen appearance by him by the halfway point. That would be my hope. Either episode 4 or 5, depending on how you look at the halfway point, as far as like we got 2 episodes tonight.
Sure. So, okay, so kind of summarize episode 1 here. Basically, we have this map, which is kind of like the Sith Wayfinder from Rise of Skywalker, if you ask me.
No, definitely was giving me those vibes, yeah.
So basically, the whole thing is like we need the map, and the map is essentially we get it from these, the witches, the Dathomir, and basically, if you're using this thing, could find Ezra, but also it sounds like Ahsoka's plan is, I think, first and foremost, it should be to find Ezra, but I think on the more serious kind of like a kind of tunnel vision level, she's looking to kill Thrawn, like to prevent the war. I'm going to kill Thrawn and save Ezra if I'm in it.
I very much think that Ezra is like a secondary concern to her, and I feel like that's going to be
telling.
And that's going to be where the tension between her and Sabine is going to come into play, I think.
Yeah, I wonder if there's going to be a line here of us potentially exploring like Ahsoka's dark side in the sense of like her master was Darth Vader, and he went astray, and she's got some feelings about that, and she left
Mm.
the Jedi Order, and I think there's always that thing of like the light side, dark side, and the idea even when you follow the light side of the Jedi way, there's always like these hesitations that basically are open invitations to the dark side. You can never have a personal life, and if you notice, Kanan, he kind of, because he was a surviving Jedi, he kind of broke the rules. He had a kid, fell in love. He broke those
But
rules.
I also feel like the way that his death was built up was very much like he kind of like the way that he was falling. This is more like Rebel season 4 talk here, but like I kind of feel like his whole arc in season 4 was kind of like him knowing that by letting Hera into his heart as much as he was by that point in the show, he was essentially dooming himself.
So that's the thing. It's kind of this interesting line between like the attachments and not having the attachments. So like Ezra is an attachment or isn't he to Ahsoka? Because think about it, as we revealed in Rebels, in a big moment, Ezra saved her life big time by
Oh
messing with
yeah.
time. Which also that was a huge thing for me. Oh my god, I've always heard people like speculate time travel. This is what they were talking about. They could actually do that.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So yeah, I mean, there's definitely a big connection between Ezra and Ahsoka. So it's gonna be interesting to kind of unpack that and see what's going on in Ahsoka's head with her
I'm still a
priorities.
little bit irritated that we got the first on-screen interaction between Luke and Ahsoka in like a random episode of the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, well, all right. So let's see. So Sabine, she again the fact she used to wield the dark saber. Now she's it was a big deal. Less so just because it's the dark saber, more so because of like, hey, what we're exploring in these two episodes that Sabine is primed to become the first Mandalorian Jedi.
Mm-hmm. And I think
And
that is a really cool concept to take her character in for sure.
yeah,
Of course, there were some hints of that in Rebels with the
yeah.
light with the dark saber training,
I
but
think she started that, and then it kind of like fell to the wayside. Now we're
uh-huh.
picking that back up again after everything we've been through with Mando, which I think is an interesting choice. Okay, so anyways, then we end the first episode on a bit that kind of irks me, just like yet again in Star Wars we have a
Yes,
lightsaber.
yes, yes. I hated this dragon,
Like I just
honestly.
want I just want to like knock Filoni's cowboy head off. Like Filoni, why did you do that? Again, it's like pick the hat up. Like come on, man. It's like
You're bullying Filoni at this point.
like he started it. Okay, it's like
I'll get
Filoni.
John Dragon. We'll tag team. Come
I
get
don't.
over here, John.
It's like Dave. I don't care if Deborah Chow did it. You got to stop impaling people and having them walk it off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For
Now,
real,
okay,
for
now
real.
in the defense of Filoni here, it does feel like okay, at the very least, he played the moment like okay, she is hanging on by a thread, and she was like rushed for emergency medical treatment versus the
You know
other
what
one.
else I hate about this is that I feel like it's kind of just indicative of like this is just sort of the type of cliffhanger that Disney Plus likes because we saw a very similar thing happen with Secret Invasion with Goya, you know,
Hmm.
seemingly
So
dead at the end of an episode, only to
that's
be immediately resurrected.
and that's why they had to have two episodes because the fans would have been so ticked off. You had to wait a week to find out. Okay,
Right, totally, totally. Can you imagine, Dragon? Can you imagine if it was like, oh shit, Sabine is I genuinely that would be crazy. That oh, the fan reaction would just be insane.
but I mean, again, compared to all the other more egregious times, at least like she's not like walking off and going all the way to Tatooine and saying, "I want the kid for random
I mean, the fact
reasons."
that she's bedridden for like most of the
Yeah,
next episode definitely helps.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. At the very least,
Uh,
I'll give Filoni credit there. I'm going to pick up the hat for him that time. Okay,
oh
I'm
God.
sorry, I lost my temper a bit, but you understand, it's been a real problem. Okay, good on him.
It's
So pat him on the little hat, and I'm going to leave. Okay,
okay.
so.
So two, toil and trouble. Do you think all these episodes are going to be like blank and blanks?
I'd like to think so, but we'll have to see.
We'll see. Yeah.
All right, so let's see. So So Ahsoka's coming to grips with having to train Sabine this episode. That's kind of the main crux of this one. Like her, like realizing, I've been really hard on her, and I should, we've been really distant for a while. I kind of left her in the lurch. I should kind of do right by her and teach her, in a sense, complete the training I didn't get completed by my master.
Do you think that the whole thing with Sabine kind of having some abandonment issues with Ahsoka, and again, Dragon, obviously, I'm not really like in the Filoni fandom in the same way that you are, but like I got the feeling like Ahsoka popped up a couple more times after season 2, but like by and large, season 2 of Rebels really was the Ahsoka season, and then we really didn't get much of her after that. So do you think in some ways this Sabine abandonment plot line is kind of a meta nod to that?
It might be. I can't remember if there was shades of like her training her in that season or not. It's been so long since I've seen season 2. But I mean, yeah, it has been. Well, I mean, Sabine already has abandonment issues because of her parents, which she passed things up with towards like the back half of Rebels. But still, it's like
that was one thing about Rebels season 4 that annoyed me. Honestly, was that moment where it's like her whole family's dead. Never mind. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm like, oh shit, this cartoon suddenly got really serious. Oh no, not really. We're still going to have to wait like 8 more episodes for someone to actually die.
Well, it's still a franchise where we kill a whole bunch of kids, so, like, just call them younglings. It'll be fine. Yeah, oh yeah, we killed a whole bunch of younglings. Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right, let's see. So, we have this this nice basically kind of our image here. We're hacking the hunter killer droid's head. A lot of tension there because it's going to blow up, and we have this great line by David Tennant here, where he says, as Harris says, "Yeah, go for it." Like, that's because you're a hologram.
Yes. That's some great droid snark right there.
It's such a good joke. Like, yeah, you're a hologram. You're not here.
By the way, I think the hologram, just the visual effects on the holograms have just never looked better. I think they're really good.
They're also very different too, because here you have like the more traditional blue kind of like hologram look, but when we do kind of our, or at least our in quotes, because we don't know what the full deal is yet, but our Sith guys our Imperial kind of hired guns. I love the HD detail and like the hologram effect there, because it's not the same as our Rebels. It's quite it's something kind of cool and like almost sand like.
Sure.
You know what they say about sand? It gets coarse and it gets everywhere. Apparently, it has a really nice picture to it. Anyway, so you basically unlock the location, which is Corellia, a little Han Solo nod, the Detroit City of the Stars.
Oh my god. Yes.
It's a little, it's Michigan in space.
I always think of fucking Oliver Twist when I think of that planet, honestly.
Let's see. So, again, the map feels very much like a predecessor to the Sith Wayfinder, as I said with Rise of Skywalker.
Well, I feel like, if one of the things that these live-action Filoniverse shows do is kind of like retroactively make the sequel trilogy stuff make a little bit more sense, I'm honestly all for that.
I mean, to give it credit where credit's due, it makes a lot more sense than like, okay, so we have like we go to this like this.
All the mechanics of the fetch quest stuff in the Rise of Skywalker were just all kinds of messed up.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying here we kind of smarten up here. Okay, you go to this ritualistic place where you have like these spires that are destroyed. At least it's a place that makes sense. You have these destroyed spires. You go there, and that's where you do a little kind of our fill-in for the Wayfinder thing. At least when it projects, I don't know. It kind of like it fits like a map a lot better than okay. If you can somehow find the magical angle of the destroyed Death Star, or the destroyed that was the Death Star crashed in there, right?
Yeah.
Of the destroyed
that whole thing, oh my god, it literally gives me a headache just thinking about it, because it's like the Death Star is not going to be in the same fucking position that it was when you first set up those coordinates, because there's a thing called erosion and sinking into the ground over time.
I mean, but also the thing
it drives me fucking crazy.
Even less you're right about the erosion factor. Even beyond the erosion, is just the fact that like okay, how much foresight is Palpatine really going to have? Like, okay,
Right,
I'm
right.
gonna carve this shape that actually looks
Exactly, exactly.
just like the location for just in case I get thrown down essentially the elevator shaft. I get thrown down the Death Star exhaust port shaft.
Truly absurd. Just truly
So
absurd.
anyway, point being, it's a nice aesthetic and it makes a lot more sense. And also, I think the aesthetic too with the whole Sith language and everything, which by the way is a Ralph McQuarrie pool.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
in addition to being a Ralph McQuarrie pool, it does it is reminiscent of like the whole time thing that we saw in Rebels. Remember, we see like the path how time is interwoven in the galaxy, and it has like all those interconnected circles and lines and everything. Look good.
Sure, sure, sure.
Which essentially is what they're aiming for. They're
I
kind of
have
getting.
I have heard some theories that we're gonna see some time travel shenanigans in this show, and I don't like necessarily buy that, but like I don't know. I it's always kind of a worry. Like remember when Red Letter Media was trying to predict that the Rise of Skywalker would have a bunch of time travel shit.
Well, I think it's gonna be less time travel. It's more like they're kind of like to pull another Lucas reference. Like they're in the space between spaces.
Right, but I'm saying like I'm hearing theories that it's like Ahsoka's gonna go back in time and try and save Anakin. I'm like, no way, no fucking way.
Well,
That's
you know
never
that
gonna happen.
if that does happen, it's gonna be terrible because there's the whole thing. The whole point of that scene in Rebels, like, hey, don't save your family, Ezra. Don't do that.
Exactly, exactly.
Literally, Kanan's last message to him was like, like don't. It was cryptic, but it was the lesson of like when the big scary man offers you the chance, like, hey, just walk on through, so I can follow behind you and take over the world. Just walk on through and be with your family. No strings
Right,
attached,
right,
buddy. I
right.
want to help you right now. Look, I don't look scary, do I? I'm not wearing an evil robe. Anyway,
I will say that Kanan's haircut in that last episode was a little scary.
yep.
Not scary, but definitely kind of off-putting. I kind of wish he would have went out with the beard, honestly.
Anyway, so let's see. So okay, we're on Corellia. We have the factory thing. We have the so here's I like that the world building in kind of the post the post trilogy stuff has been really good. It's the idea that we've done the Operation Paperclip thing with the ex Imperials, and it's a flaw. It's a big design flaw in the New Republic that will most likely lead to the First Order, and we see it, the big flaw of it here. We're like, okay, a lot of by proxy, there's a lot of corruption here in this episode.
But I like the line that Ahsoka has where it's like it's not corruption, it's just greed.
There you go. So yeah, we see like the holes here, but I think the message here too of just like the how we always kind of equate World War II to Star Wars all the time. It's like very much like the logical aftermath of Star Wars if we were to go forward in history, so to speak. The parallel history would be the Operation Paperclip thing, and the message is if we learn anything from that show, Hunters, Operation Paperclip sucks, and don't trust the Nazis.
Exactly, exactly.
It's still Nazis. It's not good.
Put that on a bumper sticker. It's still Nazis.
They're loyal as long as they get paid.
Oh God.
Right, so
Yeah, that right there. It's like, okay, no, my guy, that is not good. That is not a good way to run a government.
Nope. All right, let's see. So, Hu Yang and Sabine, they have a little pep talk scene between the two of them, and again, like he's relating it all through like the lightsaber Smith kind of wisdom there.
Yeah.
Got a really good line. Hold the only time wasting, only time you're wasting is your own. Yeah, that's good. Just him like basically the whole thing would be a waste of time. The only time being wasted is your own.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Also, something we should mention with the lightsaber. I think we saw it. We saw it at the end of last episode. Got impaled. The orange lightsaber.
Sure, sure.
I'm saying it's kind of big with all the colors and stuff. It used to be four. Now we get with Rise of Skywalker. We get yellow, and now we get orange. Like who knows what's gonna be next?
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying, though. I feel like by introducing more colors, it kind of like loses the novelty of different colors a little bit. I to be honest with you, I didn't even notice.
I know. Here's the thing. I had to hear that it was orange because I'm always paranoid about shades of color because I was thinking like, is it red? I'm just seeing it that way. But I think orange does feel like the worst color you can make.
I kind of read it as like more of a bronze.
Maybe look, you're probably right. Probably is like bronzish, but the fact of the matter is, orange is like orange or I guess bronze, but let's just say orange is like the worst color you could possibly give a lightsaber because people are gonna it's gonna be like looking at an eye color chart. Like, is it red? Is
Oh
it a
God,
dull red?
you're right. You're right.
It's like okay, like Ahsoka's is white. Okay, white was a big deal for us. Okay, white's like the one we can keep, and then yellow was
Uh-huh.
like okay, well, yellow's like in theory the last time we're gonna see Star Wars. So fine, we added a yellow one.
God, yeah.
But yeah, anyway. So
Yellow is like one of my least favorite colors, just for the record. So that was not great.
so you hate SpongeBob.
I just don't like the aesthetic of yellow. I don't know.
Right. Anyway, so let's see. So we have some great action on Corellia when we have like the big reveal like for the Empire and they're shooting wild.
Right, right.
Great bedlam and like the tension in the room, and then Ahsoka's jumping from that window. And we have a little showdown with Marok being like the full on like one of the last remaining Inquisitors.
Mm-hmm.
Not a
And
lot
then
to
we get my boy Chopper Dragon.
Yeah, the Chopper.
Chopper in live action is just fucking wonderful, honestly.
He is.
I really, really love this droid. I think he's one of my favorite Star Wars droids now. I love his attitude. I love his like the fact that he's like always cranky but still resilient, and that you can like get all that characterization out of him without him actually having any real dialogue. The arms in live action, they make a meal out of that.
What do you think? Are the arms CG or the actual practical arms?
Probably a mix, maybe.
I think they look maybe a little CG. You have to see it again. But you're right there. They look really good.
Well, just the way that it was able to add to his expression.
Also, it's nice to see Chopper and Hera back in the saddle again.
Of course, yeah.
Yep. All right, let's see. So we have some great action there. We have like the Phantom like pursuing the ship and launching the tracker on them.
You gotta be a fan of the Phantom as a ship, right? We haven't really talked about it before, but I can't imagine you're not.
Oh, I dig it, man. Yeah, plus, I mean, remember the Phantom's like part of the Ghost. It's not even like the big ship, but like the Ghost is the big ship.
That's true. Yeah, but I dig the whole I dig the whole vibe of like we have the Ghost as the big ship, and then the Phantom is kind of like the stealth ship.
Yeah, it's like the shuttle, yeah. Like practical. I mean, it's not actually, it has more battle capabilities than the shuttle, but yeah. All right, let's see. So also, I like with the Inquisitors. I always love the Inquisitors' lightsabers are really cool. I like the fact like when he flees from battle, he so like moves a little to like the left, and then just kind of like comes like from right behind her, like to his arms. I can't leave my lightsaber behind. Just brings it back. It's nice. Okay, let's see. So the Empire, they've stolen a hyperdrive so they can put it on the Eye of Sion. The Eye of Sion essentially will take him like to Thrawn, wherever he is, thanks to the coordinates that they have on the map. But thankfully, our intrepid rebels, they have a tracker on them, so they're going to be able to follow them into wherever they're going. So they probably find Ezra and Thrawn at the same time, which may take 1 to 2 episodes. 1 for lucky, 2 most likely.
I'm saying as long as we get there by episode 5, I'll be fine with it.
That's what I'm saying. Like in that window is probably
yeah.
I think best case is when we're going to be there. Let's see. So big moment. Sabine. She's donning her armor again, but also walking the path of the Jedi. She cuts the hair, which, by the way, I was not thrilled with her long hair, so I was so happy. Like, yeah.
The thing is, I like the red streaks. Like, I think that fits in with her style very well. But yeah, you're right. Like when she cut her hair, it was very much like, okay, there's more of this. Like, I even like how, like, I feel like the line of, like, it's more me. It's almost meta. Like, yeah, we know that's the haircut you like on Sabine.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, long hair on Mando's just doesn't really fit.
I will say though, I do hope that we see some more gradients and shades in her hair as the show goes on, because I really like that element of her character.
I'm saying, like, how often? I know she changed her haircut. How often was like per season, or did she do it? Like,
Well,
maybe like,
ironically enough, Dragon, like given the fact that we have Ramona Flowers in the show, it felt like a Ramona Flowers thing. It felt like at least a couple times a season, I
you
think.
probably have, like a gag with hair where she's walking by. Man, I wish I had hair.
Oh my god.
I just have like these little flaps.
I love that.
And Ahsoka's looking to her, says, "What's wrong with flaps?"
Can we please get that? It's just a joke. That would be hilarious. All right.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Then, then again, we have like some shades of the thing here with the Balin, where he's showing a little like little seeds of like, hey, like let's show some respect to our enemy here. It's gonna be we're gonna have to kill her, but it's gonna be a shame because Ahsoka Tano is a big deal.
Yeah, that honestly was like the most interesting moment from him. Out of these two episodes, I think is just showing the reverence for the Jedi that he still does have.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm really sold on. Plus, Stevenson was. I always really liked Stevenson as an actor, and I thought he was very underrated. So I feel like this is giving him like, look, I know comparatively with the kind of our Disney Plus Star Wars villains, with the exception of Mando, they haven't really had the most stay power, especially in terms of like the Inquisitors and Sith people that we've kind of added to the fray. So I don't know. I think we're giving real.
Well, I feel like one episode in, this guy is already a lot better than the Solo villains, I think.
But also, it feels like he just kind of fits the tone of Star Wars really well, because he's got kind of a proper English kind of thing about him.
Sure.
I don't know. It feels right.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's about it, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, well, I'm a little bit concerned that we got no engagement. Like, that's honestly very surprising.
People usually expect this sort of thing from us on Thursday too, so I don't know.
You think we should switch to Thursday then, and if that's the case?
I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but probably.
Yeah. Okay. So, final thoughts on your end?
Finals mine again. Like, I think we're off to a good start. Again, maybe not the thing to jump in like, hey, you want to watch some Star Wars? What is that?
No.
Let me show you about this Ahsoka character. Really, she was always a standout character. So I think you'll be fine. Like Luke, who? Like it's not important. Just focus on her.
Oh God.
Who's Vader? Like no, don't worry about Vader. It's Anakin.
Wait, who's that bearded guy in the mural? Why is he not around?
What's with all the wolves? Oh, I'll save it for memoir. What's with all the wolves?
All right.
Anyway, but yeah, I think it's a solid entry. I think it's definitely kind of like bringing some punch of like thankfully kind of like we had both episodes instead of a whole ending on a cliffhanger of like, it would have been a real sour note to end on if like, and we stab someone again, they're probably gonna live, we're not gonna know for a week, we're gonna speculate on, of course they must be dead, or no, she's gonna be a back to tank for about 5 episodes.
Oh God, can you imagine? Oh no, don't even.
Sabine will pull from it. We're gonna have all these flashbacks and but all the feelings that she has towards.
Dude, I would be so pissed. I would be so pissed if that was really what they did.
We're gonna have so many Ezra flashbacks.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
At least then we might be able to get some flashbacks of Kanan.
Yep, we're gonna get Freddie Prinze Jr. on a beard. Also, we're gonna give him a tan. There's gonna be some ethical implications there.
Oh God! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
Technically, his father was just, his father is Hispanic, but it's like a whole thing. I don't know. It's
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
All right. Well, yeah, I agree that this was a solid start, and I have a lot more faith in this show to deliver than I did for Secret Invasion after those first 2 episodes. Even though I thought those first 2 episodes were okay with Secret Invasion, they definitely had their moments. Here, I think there's definitely some stuff that we are doing with the show that is better than any other Disney Star Wars show. Specifically, the action and how cinematic it feels. Like this feels far and away the most. I mean, again, Andor is kind of like a different beast when it comes to cinematic because with Andor, the big thing was like, like ditching the volume and going for more practical sets and more grand scale sets. But with this, it's like we are in the volume very much so, but it looks very good, though. It looks a lot more convincing than a lot of Mando Season 3, at the very least. So I'm excited to see where we go with it. I'm excited to see, now that I've kind of got this this Rolodex of potential Rebels characters to pop up. I'm definitely excited to do some Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the screen as we go along. Hopefully we'll get some Callus in there. All right. Okay, well, Dragon, I would like to thank ourselves.
You're welcome.
All right, well, that'll do it. That'll do it for us tonight as we holster our remotes till the next installment calls for the draw. Mono y mono. Just Plus and Us. Of course you don't want to do it. You're not